Well, I've come out with a very strong plan for homelessness. It's ambitious and bold, but it was after really looking at it and saying, what? First of all, you need to be aware of what can we actually, like, what are we allowed to do in the city? The city has no authority to go out and build houses for homeless people. So that, even if you wanted to do it, apart from the fact we don't have the money, it's right off the table. So then you look at it, and we have homeless people getting chased out of parks by the bylaw staff at 8 in the morning, leaving behind mess, needles, everything. That's not working for the residents, and it's also not working for the homeless because that makes them very transient. I believe if we get all the homeless people in one suitable piece of land, they're no longer transient. They can have basic core services there, and it makes it better for the city as well. Is that a Band-Aid solution? Yes, but when you're bleeding, you'd rather have the Band-Aid than not have it. And I believe in our generation, there will be a government, provincial or federal, that will apply the adequate resources across Canada to really take a run at homelessness. Until that's done on a provincial or national level, though, as a city, we just can't do this. I mean, Henry Braun has been totally right on the mark. If we came out with great, amazing services, we'll just displace homeless people from other communities to come here.
I have thought about it so much. Not that I have a bigger heart for it than anybody else at all, but I have two friends who really care and have really been involved. And you know what? Nobody's got an answer. Honestly. The fact is that it's costing Abbotsford a lot of money. And so, given that harsh reality that the province isn't stepping up to the plate, isn't curing it, and I don't know if they can, the only way you could cure it would be to take the attitude of what back in whenever 40s 50s 50s whatever, vagrancy wasn't allowed. It was against the law. And so there was a very harsh sort of attitude to that. But what we've done is we've gone too far the other way. And so now we have the provincial government saying, no, you can't make them leave your parks, and too bad if they're in your back 40. You can't mistreat people and take away their homes and the stuff. But that's crazy. So that's enabling, and that's just, now it's a free-for-all, and everybody can do it and evade rent and still get money from the government for food and so on. So this is crazy, this freedom to park wherever you want to park, and it's degrading. It's degrading to them, and it's degrading to this city. There's a cost to Abbotsford. So if there's going to be a cost to Abbotsford anyway, I say build housing for them. It's going to cost money, but at the end of the road, I don't think it's going to cost as much as it is now. Build clean, decent housing for them, but that housing has to have security because they are afraid of one another too. And that's why often they won't stay in the shelters, as they hurt each other if they're high on drugs or mentally damaged. So I think the city has to provide housing. It's degrading for your fellow human beings to have to live out there where there's no washrooms and no bathrooms and no clean clothes and no hope of having any respect for yourself. And so build housing. It's going to cost, but I can't see any way around it. And but security. It has to have security so that they don't have to live in fear like that.
Reaching out needs to be more of a priority. There's a lot of different community groups and organizations that want to help, but I constantly see homeless people out there, and I feel that physically going out regularly and letting them know where our resources are and what options they do have for addiction recovery or for shelter. I'm happy that the province is developing the new property out on Riverside. That's at least a step in the right direction, but there needs to be more immediate options. I'm really concerned because this is always a hot topic during elections, but there isn't ever a resolve. There's more people. Nothing has been planned. Winter's months away. What are we doing 2 months from now? What is our current city going to do in 2 months when we're freezing? Right. My understanding is that churches and nonprofits, I think there's a legality that prevents them to a certain degree from opening doors, allowing flexibility to be able to do that, and creating maybe more opportunity within the city to build quicker. That's not going to solve the immediate problem, but there needs to be an area either for them to set up and live temporarily, where they can have resources, where they're not hidden out in the woods and, you know, in a more immediate area, and then utilizing the buildings we may already have that are underutilized that we can put to good use. Since people are coming here, I think in part because the resources are good, but I also feel they're, you know, with the growing number of bodies that are consistently just strewn about everywhere, the resources are either not amply being used or they're not at the levels where they should be.
When this council began its term 4 years ago, or almost 4 years ago now, we had 0 supportive housing units in the city. This council very quickly approved zoning so that we could get 30 units on Gladys. It didn't destroy the downtown, which is what a lot of people were claiming would happen. On the heels of that, we entered into another agreement with the province, with BC Housing, for 40 units on Riverside. So we currently have 70 units of supportive housing. The province has again come, not because they just come. We've been advocating for this. So they will fund another 83 units to the tune of $12 million, modular housing, 40 units at Riverside, and 43, or the other way around, I can't remember the numbers, who goes where, for women. And on top of that, there's a nonprofit that we've also approved, or they have funding for another 60 units. So we're going to very quickly have, by the end of next year, probably 210 to 230 supportive housing units, which is a big increase from 0 4 years ago. Is that enough? No, we have to do more.